the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and
Dave?
they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we
hold
know
on.
they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
Welcome, everybody, to the first inaugural episode of Dave Meltzer, Dumb Moment of the Week. I am your host, Phil Marks, and before we get into things here tonight, just a little preamble. This is a segment so nice that I decided to turn it into its own show. And that's right. We've innovated roasting Dave Meltzer here at PWT once before. I figured I'd do it again. And the beauty of this new double DMW, as it's come to be known in the streets, is it's also on podcasts like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all of that good stuff. So if you're into making fun of Dave Meltzer, you can now do it in audio form wherever you get your podcasts as well. Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural, the first edition of Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week, the new show here, again, hosted by your boy Phil Marks at PWT. I'm so excited. And of course, if you enjoy the live shows, PWT live shows, there will still be Dave roastings. Last live show you guys heard, we roasted the shit out of Dave still. And this is just the segment dedicated to it. You know, we would spend an hour and a half. Some segments were an hour 45, split them in two. It'd be like 45 and 45 on Dave. So I just figured we'd give it its own official show. And I am entirely excited for this. So be sure to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Rate us 5 stars and all of that. And be sure to add this to your podcast players. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. And of course, you know Bryan's in there, right? He's a focal point of every show that we do here for Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. So, not only does Bryan Alvarez catch some strays from the GOAT, Meltzer said what this week and on this episode of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. And big shout outs to Meltzer said what, by the way. Go and give him a follow. Dave and his merry band of voting sycophants discuss CM Punk's candidacy for the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame. And Meltzer said what's comments on this are Punk's a Hall of Fame drawn worker, but previously, or this is what Dave's about to say, previously he was mean to AEW, which made him not a Hall of Famer because AJ Lee came back, etc., etc. Let's take a listen. These are Dave's sycophants. So before we dive into Dave, okay, here on Double DMW Thursday nights, we are going to dive into some of his little followers here at the Observer. And here's them pretty much just coping about CM Punk being voted into the Hall of Fame of the Observer. Like it matters. Nerd alert!
Interesting. Because this is the first year I will be voting for CM Punk. My hold up on him, I've always said Hall of Fame draw, great worker. That wasn't my issue. My issue was his past behavior and its impact on AEW's business. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I thought he's still active.
And I thought this thing was real.
At a high level, and there's always going to be
He's a high level worker.
Again. However, certain things this year.
However, I find it rather elementary. Who is this?
One of them being that his wife now works with WWE. Therefore, he's much more, I think, emotionally bound to make sure this works well, I would think.
I'm glad you didn't say The Miz thinks he's a nice guy.
And the other thing, and this is going to sound like a negative, it's not a negative, it's actually a positive in terms of getting me to actually vote for him. His efforts to be a company man, especially in relation to some of his comments about Saudi Arabia, and his efforts to...
What the fuck does any of that have to do with being in the Hall of Fame?
Almost willingly make himself look like a hypocrite. I can't see how, when you're that deep into I want this to work, I don't think he's an idiot, right? I think he does want this to work. I don't think he's going to blow it up. So
it's more than we can say about you, my friend.
No. So I think I'm calling it a hypocrite like it's a negative, but for me it's a positive because it means that I don't think he's going to mess this up. I feel much more comfortable as a result of that voting for him. Hopefully that makes sense. So yes, I will be voting for him as well, and I'll be voting for Becky. And look, I don't.
Look, see, these are like Meltzer stands. They stand Meltzer. They sound just like him. What are we doing today, boss? You know, the thing, like, CM Punk is a draw. He was all of AEW's business at one point. He comes back to WWE. He moves the needle. He sells merch. And that's just like, if we're talking metrics, that makes him a Hall of Famer, right? Because it's not easy for wrestlers to just sell merch and shit, you know, like at the level some of these guys have. Even in WWE, though, some people get a shit end of the stick on that, and they don't sell too much merch or draw too much in that regard. But, you know, we're talking about a guy who's a multi-time world champion, wrestled the who's who, you know, the guy. It's CM fucking Punk, the guy that they chanted for a decade, they wanted for a decade while he was gone. And I mean, that he's Hall of Fame worthy in your little Mark magazine, in any little fucking Mark magazine, in any Phil Marks magazine coming soon. $14.99, Brian. No, I'm just kidding. But let's just scroll through here. So that's a bingo. We'll circle back to the Bad Bunny stuff here. New subscribers get 50% off their first month. So there you go. There's a little plug. There's a little plug on PWT for you. Let's see here. So 2 more hilarious clips from Dave's Echo Chamber, WON, Hall of Fame discussion. John Muse confirms that he also previously didn't vote for CM Punk because he was mean to AEW. Ethan Tyler then uses cage match. These all sound like Englishmen. This is the new lineup at Cultaholic. Ethan Tyler then uses cage match rating stats of ZSJ matches rated 8+10 to make the argument that ZSJ is a Hall of Famer. These guys are fucking insane.
Fucking Mark!
Man, so let's take a listen here to John Muse and Ethan Tyler. Support Wrestle Talk. Might as well be. Might as well have that fucking drop after this, after saying that. But you know, they use cage match ratings here. I like ZSJ. I do. I'm not shitting on him, but like a Hall of Famer, bro, he needs to get in his prime. Maybe he's in his prime now, but like where is he as a draw? I mean, I'm pretty sure New Japan was falling off while he was world champion and shit. Okay. I'm just being honest here. I don't know if ZSJ, like why you would even have the conversation of ZSJ in the same conversation as CM Punk when it comes to who you're going to put in your Hall of Fame. This shouldn't even be a debate. Not that ZSJ could never be in the Hall of Fame or that I don't think he has what it takes to be in any Hall of Fame, right? I shouldn't even have to justify this shit. We're roasting Dave. But yeah, here's just more of his sycophants just repeating this shit. And if you're in a bubble of people who repeat this shit back to each other, like ZSJ should be in the conversation of CM Punk as far as who's in the Hall of Fame, then of course you're going to like start to believe it after a while, you know? And we can all just objectively say, even an outsider is able to say, like a casual wrestling fan, let's say somebody who's like, oh yeah, I watch AEW, oh yeah, I watch CM Punk, oh yeah, or I watch WWE, I watch TNA now and again. You know, yeah, NXT's cool. I don't watch it all the time. You ask them, CM Punk or ZSJ. There's only one answer. Anyways, yeah. Anyway,
so John, who are
Yes.
you going to vote for in the modern category?
Punk and Cody, as we kind of discussed. And with Punk, I didn't vote for Punk the 2 years that he kind of, hurt AEW. I just said, nope, not going to do it. But then the WWE jump showed it's legit. And he's been, like Ethan pointed out, he's been a good soldier, right? So that's got me back.
a good soldier. What does it now? That's got me back to he's been a good soldier now. Just bow down, lick the boot. Just listen to, like, they're trying to paint a narrative that the guy CM Punk, who's like this big disruptor and shit in the business, now that he's like, okay, I'm gonna be a little more professional. I went to AEW. It's not like, dude, he woke up because he went to AEW and he's like, holy shit, man, this industry's doomed if I don't go back to WWE. Like, these guys really don't know what the fuck they're doing. There's no other hope. I resented WWE, but holy shit, maybe I shouldn't have walked away. My eyes are open now because I went against the grain and everything. And because he like apologized to a group of people who like live in a different part of the world where the culture's different. Oh, he's just a boot. He just got in line. And then somehow that's like this extracurricular drama bullshit. Dave controlling you and controlling your narrative, EC3. But Dave like controlling, or like you being controlled and shit, factors into just what you've accomplished in wrestling and if you should be a Hall of fucking Famer in the business of professional wrestling, the business of pro wrestling and sports and entertainment. Who's a Hall of Famer in our magazine? We write about wrestlers, the drama and the extracurricular, and if they were mean to the company I like, and if they're mean to me, and if my little sycophants go, well, he fell in line because Daddy Dave said so. That factors into whether or not, like, oh, he was a draw, he works good, he puts on great storytelling matches, he was in the ECW era, he was back in ROH having awesome matches, he went to AEW, fucking drew the only houses they ever really drew of significance on a weekly basis or whatever. They launched a whole show around him. He goes back to WWE. Like, none of that is fat. They're just talking about like, well, he fell in line, so that makes me want to vote for him again. Crazy.
Go to our place with him. I am voting Moxley. I do think
Moxley.
It's time. I think he should be. Ethan and I kind of go back and forth because I'm more of a fan of his work. Ethan's a little less of a fan, and I think that makes a totally understandable difference, right?
These guys are sitting here debating if Punk should go in, and then they go, it's time. Moxley should go. I mean, just many world titles in AEW. I mean, many New Japan titles.
On Moxley, one thing to point out, I did some math. He's held the belt in AEW 28% of the time it's existed, which is over. Go ahead.
I think a key part of that too is that
I'm that here's the thing. What the fuck? This is what's crazy. Like, how does that, what has AEW ever done in 6 years to make their title so prestigious that it outweighs the world titles that Punk, he won that world title, right? Not only that, he left the company with that title you're talking about, and he fucking won a bunch in WWE. They're sitting here honestly pretending that like the ECW world title doesn't have more prestige debatably than the fucking AEW world title does at this point in time in history, right? Like the WCW world title holds more weight. That's the thing too. Dave had to debate whether Sting, and we're going to pull his card on that as well tonight. Dave had to debate with himself and his readers and shit whether Sting is worthy to be in the Hall of Fame. Sting never had good matches. Dave buried him. He's not a great wrestler. He goes to AEW. He's having 5-star matches, being praised. He's a legend. Hall of Fame right away. It's fucking crazy, man.
He was there as the solidifying force when things were really bad.
Yes, and Tony's went to him, right?
Why does that make you a Hall of Fame? Did you draw? He was the go-to. Hey, there's some shitty indie fed you've never heard of, Dave, where there was some go-to guy when their backs were against the wall. Are they a Hall of Famer? No, but at the level. Well, what level? At the level, Phil. What level? What level? The goes to his hometown and barely sells 2,000 seats. Level as world champion? That level, dude, I don't know.
When there's a problem, Tony goes to him and Tony has confidence in him. But, that there was a period where, they were on the way down.
And it's crazy the way they talk about AEW, like, oh, when they were down, whenever there's problems, there was a period there in times of need. This company is 6 years old.
Best guys, Tony Khan.
Why is there so much turbulence and fucking ups and downs and shit? As far as like, what are you talking about, man?
And and I'm not just talking about in the ring and in front of the fans. I mean the company itself. He really basically was we could, this whole thing could fall apart. We can't let it. You know what I mean? And he had a lot of frustrations during that period. But the point is that he was
So Dave agrees the AEW could have fallen apart.
Really valuable. And when things were bad, he was the Ric Flair. I don't know what to do, or whatever. And it's like, well, until we figure it out, let's go to Moxley. And
that they've lost, and what? They've lost hundreds of thousands of viewers every year and are doing shitty houses and shit. Let's go to Moxley. Here we go. Here's another clip.
John, and
yes,
Ethan, are there anyone in the Japan categories that we haven't talked about that you're going to vote for?
No, I do want to add a couple things though with Zach, that work rate analysis kind of thing I did. Zach after Ospreay was the next guy.
Well, that's
from the ranking. And high sample too. So many samples, which means that number being so high with that many samples, that is him. It's not like it's influenced by low number, anything like that. What was that, Ethan? I can tell. What you got?
This was amazing when I saw this. On Cage Match, Zack Sabre Jr. has 201 matches rated over 8 out of
10. Over 200 matches rated 8 out of 10 on Cage Match.
Shut up, bitch!
Oh my God.
Only Ospreay beats him, and it's
Only Ospreay beats him. Oh my God, of course he does.
It's like 230.
Of course he does. This is outstanding. Me and my 15 friends voted that ZSJ has 200 matches, 8 out of 10. Not even Kurt Angle. Not even Kurt Angle has that. Holy shit.
That's outrageous. Like, he's miles.
That's outrageous. There are 45 people total voted on these matches. Dude, Ospreay's the only person ahead of ZSJ as far as rated matches. So the Cage Match folks think ZSJ is like the greatest of all time.
Head of anyone. It's not like it's just New Japan stuff. It's the indies stuff, Rev Pro, etc. etc. I saw that and I was like, Jesus.
Even the Rev Pro matches. This is the fucking problem. They talk about Rev Pro as if it's better or bigger than like AEW or WWE or TNA. This is how you know it's just about moves, like the actual, who you're facing, what level, the crowd, the storyline, the build, did it fucking draw? None of that factors in. To them, it's just the moves, the physical aspect. And then they try and lie to you and say, well, it's the sport. No, it's not, because when you're the fucking Arizona Coyotes, you become the woolly mammoths or whatever because you ain't selling fucking tickets, bud. Okay, so no, pro wrestling's about fucking getting heat and drawing houses. You do that by working marks, and you marks are working yourselves into thinking like, oh, I mean, on Rev Pro, fucking wrestled Wheeler, Utah, and fucking they had a banger.
That's something, because if you're ahead of
I might vote for him above CM Punk in the Hall of Fame, Daddy Dave. Do I get bonus points, Daddy Dave, for pointing out the cage match ratings, Daddy Dave?
Tanahashi and Ishii,
Ahead of all of them.
I think if you're ahead of them, I mean, that's,
I almost voted last year for him, but I thought, well, he's just starting his IWGP reign. Let me see how this goes. So I said, okay, I'll wait. But what more do we need now?
Dude, New Japan's doing the worst business ever. They're hurting so bad. They're not even doing American shows, and that's why they partnered with AEW. And this guy's just like, oh, well, he didn't even start his title reign yet in the worst era of New Japan ever.
With the work rate, he's got 2 runs.
With the work rate! With the work rate!
I don't think he's going to get in this year because he's starting off at 16%, but I think he's got a good chance. One more guy who I think we do need
is Big Show in Dave Meltzer's Hall of Fame. If the Giant isn't in Dave's Hall of Fame, it's fraudulent. The work rate. Fuck me, man.
Mention, I'm not voting for him, but he was on 53% last year, and I think there's a pretty good chance he gets in. Hayabusa.
Yeah.
The new Hayabusa, or just Hayabusa overall, are they talking about gets into the Hall of Fame? I'll get behind that for now. I'll mark out with them on that. Just because, like, OG Hayabusa, it's like, it doesn't really make a difference. It's not like he's making a comeback or anything anytime soon. Okay, so we have more of Dave's, well, I think those were Dave's sycophants, okay? But we have ratings talk. We have all sorts of things here. And we have Raj Giri, who says, oh, my Lord, I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio, and those guys are actually going off about the hubris of WWE and how WWE doesn't learn from AEW, Bryan. Guys, look at the trajectories of AEW and WWE over the past 4 years. If anything, it's the hubris of AEW that is preventing them from going with what is working. Dave's finger is not only off the pulse, but it's been cut off and thrown in the ocean. I feel like astronaut in the ocean, Bryan. Yeah, dude, I don't know. We've covered this a bunch, how they're trying to paint this narrative of, like, they're attacking NXT and TNA, which we're going to get into a bit later. And what they're doing is they're trying to create this narrative of, like, they need to learn they lost. They need to learn a lesson. Right.
Learn, baby, learn. Meltzer Inferno.
WWE got their ass kicked. AEW's doing 180,000 buys and this sort of thing, right? And so that leads us to numbers talk and whatnot. So this person here responds to Switchblade, and shout out Switchblade97, a great follow. And he just looks at shit as objectively as possible. I really like that, whether it aligns with Raj or whoever else. I feel like Switchblade is like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just telling people what it is. He's like, I don't care about WWE. I don't give a fuck I'm just telling people what it is. So that, to me, I appreciate that approach a little bit. But this guy LJB2 says, since they introduced the Big Data Plus panel on September 1st. So what we're about to do here, folks, is catch Meltzer we're like he already tried to play this game this week, but we're like catching him in a game that he's going to start playing in the future moving forward. What's happening with Nielsen is they're releasing essentially fast nationals. Like, they're releasing these preliminary numbers. And so far, Switchblade DM'd me this. They are trending higher than the actual ratings comeback, I believe is what he said. Let me just double check that, just so I'm not butchering and giving him saying he said something that he didn't say. So he just said that they are trending. Let me just see. Okay, no doubt they will. Wrestling companies, the sheets are getting preliminary data. The trend so far is that the prelim Nielsen data is higher than the final data. So what we've noticed so far is that Nielsen's prelim numbers are skew higher. That's what the trend has been thus far. and then the actual numbers come out and they're lower. Funny how last week Dave took the high number for Dynamite, the low number for NXT, played both of those, and then tried to defend his shit and say like Program Insider was wrong. And he's going to do this a lot moving forward and it's also funny that Alfred Kunawa got attacked over all this Fast National shit by Tony Khan and Dave and shit. And now Dave's using essentially preliminary numbers. No, they're preliminary numbers, Bryan. Like, what is the excuse here? You're using early numbers, so fast nationals, essentially, right? You're using early numbers now, and you're going to use them, and you're going to report them and make headlines about Dynamite. You're going to wait for the real numbers for NXT, or you're going to say they did this number, but it's actually lower because of blah, 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 and you're going to explain it. We're calling you out right now, Dave. I got you, buddy. You're getting called out already. We know the game you're going to play, so I'm just like educating. We're learning. We're studying and learning, Dave. So here we go. This is just an excerpt from this article. Is there a downside to big data plus panel? And my assumption is that Dave has the preliminary data because it came out earlier, and PI has the final data. Surprised that Dave is not aware of these changes. No, he is aware. He's just playing games. Quit playing games with my heart. With my heart. And so we talked about the Hall of Fame earlier. I missed this clip. This is the one I was looking for. And so here's Dave just sort of like spurging out over who he's going to put in the Hall of Fame, jumbling around. ZSJ, maybe Cody Rhodes. I don't know, Ron. It's a tough race. Who still votes on this thing? Tell anyone who votes on this thing 50% off.
Two, I think that I expect to go in or come close. I just think
if you accept if you have to, Bryan,
have to be in are Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. When he retired the first time and everything, I was not that sold on him as a Hall of Famer. The longer he was gone, he became bigger and bigger because he was gone. And then when he came back, because he really is a fantastic promo and a very smart worker. You know what I mean? Like he has great matches without having great athletic ability, which is not the easiest thing in the world to do. And
so then what's the debate? So then what are we debating here? He won the WWE World title how many times? Huge draw. They chanted his name for 10 years. I don't get it, man.
I just think that the positive.
They hijack shows going, CM Punk. What else is there do you need to do? I thought wrestling's about getting over. He's one of the most over guys to ever get over. So what's the discussion?
Outweigh the negatives on him. And Cody, it's just like, look, we're in a boom period. We're in a boom period. It's one of the greatest periods for popularity of a company ever.
Of a company ever. Just trying to diminish Rhodes, trying to diminish WWE. It's just a boom period, and it's one of the most popular times for a company ever. Now, I do agree with Dave in that he's not wrong when he says that. He's right. I argue that the indies are seeing a boom as well. It's just, here's the thing. When it comes to AEW and WWE, yes, it's a company is feeling a boom. But when you talk about wrestling as a whole, nah, man, pro wrestling's popular again. It's just New Japan and AEW and Ring of Honor aren't popular. And so Dave does this thing where he's just like, a company. But it's just like the one you're cheering for, Dave, that shit and the companies they work with other than CMLL, which is why he tries to, CMLL's the greatest company maybe in the history of pro wrestling. That's why he, glazes Hechicero the way he does and shit. Not to shit on Hechicero, but like, come on, man. He'll be talking about these CMLL guys like it's Hogan and fucking Jake the Snake Roberts, like we're supposed to know who these people are and shit, right? But he's trying to like undercut Rhodes. Like there's a reason why Cody Rhodes is in these movies and Drew McIntyre's in these big movies and The Rock's in these fucking movies. I guess The Rock was from a generation before, but even look how popular Cena is and Roman Reigns is doing these movies, and he was just the most over guy in WWE. CM Punk's on these TV shows and in these movies. Like he just ignores all of that. No, man, these wrestlers are popular too. They don't get to write WWE. It's not like a Street Fighter on the poster it's like the fighter select screen, from Street Fighter. It's not like all the actors are there, and then on Cody Rhodes' face and Roman Reigns' face is just the WWE logo. So you can't say like, oh, it's WWE. Like, yes, it is WWE why they're getting these roles, and the people who represent them, more importantly, are why they're getting these fucking roles, because they were always offered these roles. Just Vince McMahon cockblocked this shit. Vince McMahon cockblocked Stone Cold a bunch, China, even The Rock to a degree. That's why he had to fully leave. You have to. Now in WWE, they're kind of letting people do both, and it is incredibly popular. But Dave does this thing where he's like, a company, because it's just that AEW, ROH, and New Japan aren't hot. Everything else, like, I have friends who book indies, come on PWT Pod if you go listen, I think like episode 99 or whatever, and they talk about how WWE ID has helped the indies already, and how like their indies booming that they're booking and shit, and they're seeing it all over the place, and there is more work for everybody. And yes, that is partly because of Tony Khan, but it's not a coincidence every company other than CMLL, which like wrestling's just white hot in Mexico, but it's not a coincidence that like ROH, New Japan, and AEW are all in a lull, and everything else is kind of booming. Even TNA's booming. TNA is arguably number 2. MLW's booming. What the fuck's going on? Like, we live in a crazy time for wrestling, but it's not just say it's one company. I don't know, man. TNA's booming right now. Well, they were bigger a long time ago. Well, so was WWE as far as people who watch them on TV and, Stone Cold t-shirt sales or whatever. But like, it's just a different era, People sit there and go like, oh, Raw got no 3 milli on Netflix. It's like, who cares? They didn't get 10 milli like they did in 97 or whatever. You know what I mean? It doesn't fucking matter. Head to head with Nitro, they fucking still drew 10 million watching or whatever. Like, none of that shit matters, dude. It's just a whole different era. But I think all of wrestling's sort of in a boom. Sorry, I've been harping on this, but it pisses me off when he does this, because it's like the way, it's like how he's saying shit, or like what he's saying. You have to like dissect it, because he's trying to. It's just this underlying shit. It's like dog whistles for his fucking sycophants,
And Roman Reigns was the top guy, and now Cody's the top guy. And even if you say that the Cody era to me is too short, and which is very valid.
And he's like this old son of a bitch. These eras. What is an era? Like, how long until you go, it's an era? And he acts like Roman Roman was the champion then, and now Rhodes is the champion now. He doesn't say like, man, Roman's a huge fucking star. He's a massive star for this. No, they could just put anyone. They could put Zach Gowen. Oh, if they had Orange Cassidy, they could make him the top guy. Like, it's just.
I think that what gets him in is the formation of AEW.
Yes. Oh my God. Then of course. It's not this world record setting attendances and all this fucking shit WWE's doing and the largest gates and blah, blah, blah. It's him starting AEW that gets him in the Hall of Fame in 2025. That shit happened at the end of the last decade, and
oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Fucking Dave.
I think that significance. I think that's almost more significant than what he's done in the last 2-3 years in WWE, is just the fact that AEW formed changed the business, but also his last couple of years in WWE as a top guy, on these gates that are just through the roof, and having great matches.
Oh my God, he's just it's all about AEW. It's all about AEW, man. Always. Oh my God. Okay, so speaking of AEW, Meltzer said what the GOAT says. Great news, guys. Dynamite's low ratings are actually high because it's clear that more and more younger viewers are moving to HBO Max. No evidence provided aside from declining ratings. So this is the thing. We've talked about this so much. And even though Dave hasn't been incredibly vocal about this, he said it a couple times, but I've brought it up innumerable times. Like I've just said, like, I know the way Dave thinks. I know that in his mind, and he did say it with like the basketball thing, but it's like, okay, that was an obscure, they drew whatever. But in his mind, I know that he just think his back pocket excuse desperation is going to be, well, all the young people jumped over, because before he wanted to tout the key demo, right? Like it was about, does overall viewers matter? He says overall viewers. Then years later, he goes, key demo matters. Now the key demo's shrinking. So on PWT Live, we're always talking about how I know that that's like his back pocket excuse. And now he's gone to it. He's on the last few of his Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Okay. And now he's just reaching for whatever he's got, and he's doing it now. He's starting to just magically, I know he said it once before when that basketball game was on, we called him out. We're like, okay, so the key demo had a huge spike too. What was that? Everyone just decided, oh, I'm not going to watch on Max this week and shit. So it's come to this where now the key demo is really strong. Obviously, it's huge on Max. He's going to say some shit like that. I can't wait.
The Dynamite show, I have all the demos, I have all the quarters, and it adds up to the number that is, and I get the top 25 on cable. So, everything was 638 and 0.14, which is, what they've been doing essentially. Little, viewers a little above average.
Viewers a little above average, but he's using the high number. He's using the wrong numbers, and he goes, oh, I think I have Programming Insider here. And it's he's literally using fake Fast Nationals numbers, like preliminary Nielsen numbers, and he's running with them as if they're factual and like saying this. And Brian's got to sit there, little whipping boy Brian, little piss boy Brian, has got to sit there and fucking take this and listen to this.
0.14 is a little lower. Obviously, I think that it's pretty clear that the younger audience is moving more and more to Max,
It's pretty clear the younger audience is moving more and more to Max. But then when the NBA game goes down and it leads into fucking Collision and they open with Omega Ospreay, and Dave goes, oh, well, they opened with that really strong match. I mean, the overall rating and the key demo. Dave, no, it's that no one's watching on Max.
I expected would happen. And then Program Insider came out with a lower number. So now on the...
And then he goes, and then Program Insider came out with a lower number. So, and then he's going to try and just explain it away. What's the lower number, Dave? Why aren't you accepting it? Why are you sitting there now not like, okay, so are you calling them liars now? Now you're going to call them liars or what? Like, what are you better choose your next words wisely here.
Wednesday numbers, every show that was top 25 that I got the rating of, that was listed by Programming Insider, the numbers were different. And not all of them were lower. Like the baseball game was higher in Programming Insider. Let me just see right here.
Hey, none of that matters. See, this is the problem. Dave then goes apples to oranges. Well, the baseball game, and not all of them were lower, so we're just going to go with this higher one. I think they misprinted and they lied. Meanwhile, Dave Meltzer isn't studying the fucking Wagyu beef business. Okay?
Learn,
this is
baby,
the problem.
learn.
He's not
Meltzer
studying and learning.
Inferno.
How come Switchblade 97 can get on Twitter and go, oh, yo, the Nielsen, they're releasing prelim numbers, and then Programming Insider waits for the real numbers, and they're lower. And so far, wrestling, apples to apples, wrestling, bro. WWE and AEW, the numbers they come out higher than they are, and then they're lower. The actual ones are lower. How come he could figure that out? And then you ignore that and don't tweet about it and don't bitch at people to study and learn who share the wrong numbers. Then you talk about the wrong numbers. And then you say Programming Insider had other numbers. But I mean, like over here, Ancient Aliens and Boy Meets World reruns and Big Bang Theory's numbers weren't all lower, Brian. They were equal to or higher. What the fuck does that have to do with AEW or WWE? What the fuck does that have to do with you choosing the high for AEW and the low for WWE and running with it. Dude, you're caught. You're busted. Busted through and through. I caught you going out with somebody new. I hope you understand when I say this to you. You had your one chance. Now I'm done with you, Bryan. God damn it. Dave Meltzer, dumb moment of the week, number 1. Let's go.
Yeah, the baseball game was higher. Challenge was, let me see. Challenge was slightly lower. Fox News, Jesse Waters was mixed. I mean, had more viewers, less 18 to 49 in Programming Insider than the actual number. Hannity had...
What the fuck, bro? What the fuck does Hannity have to do? Holy shit, he doesn't study and learn. He doesn't know, like, how this shit works. He doesn't understand, like, yeah, the Hannity is nothing. It's not pro wrestling. So it's different, Dave. It works different. It's not the same thing. Compare wrestling to wrestling. Bryan's just sitting there. Oh, God. I have to just take this. Hopefully he's dead in a few years and I don't have to I can just inherit this shit, you know. Hey, Bryan's saying that. Not me, dude. Not me. That's what Bryan's saying. Blame Bryan.
Had more viewers on the number. Dynamite had less viewers and an 0.11, which is like ridiculously low. South Park was down.
South Park
so,
was
I mean,
down.
Whatever. You know, it's like there's 2 sets of numbers. I don't know why. No one's given an explanation.
Oh, my God. I just explained it, Dave. Fucking Switchblade explained it. You just block everyone who explains it. And then you blow BJ Bethel under a fucking table while he plays StarCraft 2.
Hopefully the numbers are the same next week. But it was quite a confusing week. You know,
no, it's not that confusing. You dumbass.
I mean, it appears that Dynamite did well. You know, I mean,
it appears it did. I mean, it appears it did well, but I'm just probably lying.
Liar! They didn't beat the Major League Baseball game on ESPN.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dave just said AEW didn't beat the MLB on ESPN. No shit, stupid.
They were behind Challenge, but still, you know, I mean, Challenge isn't on live on their
they have to sit there and just pretend like these shows are all in the same stratosphere.
Streaming, so it's got an advantage. The baseball.
He just talks entirely out of his butt cheeks, man. It's pretty crazy. So I posted this. These are a couple of screen grabs courtesy of some pals that were sent to me. And I wrote, whatever the TV ratings were last week, all I know for sure is that Dave Meltzer didn't study and learn anything and chose the high for AEW and the low for WWE and hasn't corrected himself or acknowledged it yet. And yeah, we just see them like they're right there. NXT 0.12, 0.62. And then Dynamite 0.11. So Dave said that, oh yeah, and this is the funniest part. Ready? So Dave said that it was a 0.14 in the key demo, right? Which is wrong. It was a 0.11. And then he said that the viewers were like a 625, not too bad, but it was like a 0.55, which is one of the lowest.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
I mean, you can't even make that shit up. So good stuff. Oh, look at that there. So Dave had this to say, based, except, it's actually, except, based on Netflix's numbers. Raw did its record low last week, 9/22 show. Against the Lions versus Ravens game. I'll have a story up with the details after analyzing the numbers. This also came right after the pay-per-view. We just saw the way you analyze the numbers, Dave, and they're fucking fraudulent. Idiot. They're fucking fraudulent. You don't know how to analyze them. Your boy Phil Marks analyzes them better than you, and I'm a dumb fuck. I'm a full-blown redact, okay? So we're going to circle back to that. Again, Switchblade posts this. Mr. Study and Learn has no idea why there are discrepancies between his numbers and the final numbers put out by Programming Insider. It's because Nielsen have changed their system, and Dave, the sheets have been... So Switchblade's first language is in English as well, right? So it's a little broken. He's not redacted like myself. The sheets have been reporting preliminary numbers. PI reports the real final numbers. So there you go, right? There's a guy smarter than me explaining it. And so speaking of BJ Bethel, or blowjob brothel, as Meltzer said what calls them. Again, Meltzer said that. Meltzer said what said that shit, not me, bro. No, I don't give a fuck. But it's like the Jim Cornette thing. I can't start remembering multiple names for people, you know? It's like Bishop Dyer, Baron Corbin, Tom Pestock. You know, I can hardly remember those three. Once I forget that, I'm losing my sanity, folks. So, hey, brothel, meaning Bethel. Maybe if you removed your lips from Dave's balls, I'll say it, you would have heard him say 100 times that we literally don't know the HBO Max numbers, despite the fact that he constantly contradicts himself by printing fake numbers he invented, just like your dumbass. Also, Dave will deny Bethel's numbers. Like, oh, no, they're too high. I mean, it's just what Bethel said. But then he'll fucking say, like, well, a significant report. Like, he'll use that. A report said they're 500,000. What report? It's Bethel's report. So it's like a weird masturbatory thing to steal the line from Eric Bischoff, because, again, I've explained this a bunch of times, but it is double DMW #1, episode 1 here. So, like, you know, Eric Bischoff would always be like, it's masturbatory. And I thought it was, he meant in some regards, like, you know, it's just Dave jerking himself off, like thing. It's that, but it's also like these guys are in a circle jerk, like they're blowing each other in this little echo chamber, you know, because Bischoff would say like it's incestuous or whatever, and I didn't quite understand what he meant, you know, but this is what it is, man. It's like BJ and Dave and Tony Khan, and they're just like telling each other sweet little lies and shit, and pushing this out there that thing, like, you know, more people are watching fucking Dynamite on Max than are watching Raw, or like if you combine the Max and the TBS numbers, they're beating Raw and shit, right? Like, you guys just outlandish shit. So anyways, meanwhile, also, if AEW was on Netflix and they just put Dynamite on Netflix and it was #1 on Netflix, we'd all shut the fuck up and go, dude, they're #1 on Netflix. And also, they'd be going crazy. Sickos and Dave would be like, oh, it's raining, man. Hallelujah, right? They'd be going nuts, man. Tony Montana would be going insane. He'd get his white suit out and everything. Anyways, though, so Bryan, we played this on, I think, the last show, the last Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week on PWT Live, but Bryan defends Dave, and he's like, none of us actually believe Bethel's thing. Like, it's just what he reported. However, Dave has gone to it, like sourced it when debating people as a credible report. So what is it? Do you guys believe it or not? So Meltzer said what, pardon me, again, plays a clip, a more recent clip of Dave saying that they literally don't know the numbers, etc. And we have some cards pulled here from the Observer itself.
You know, overseas territory that you really want to cultivate and be the good guys for. If you go every time in the afternoon, you are beating WWE because they're still going to do a lot of nighttime shows.
And it's clear, and I'm assuming it's because of that Wembley show next year. He is tracking the rating stuff really closely.
But he always does. Tony's very, very into ratings.
But he doesn't know his own TV ratings? This is from a few days ago, by the way.
Probably from a Tony standpoint, makes this period so frustrating, because for him and for me and for anyone who follows it, because we literally don't know.
No, it's not frustrating. It's only frustrating because and then he goes, we literally don't know. So then you're lying about the Max numbers and the estimates, and they're beating Raw. So you're lying. All you dumb fucking sickos hate listening or hate watching this show right now. Boom. They don't know. They're lying. All the numbers you guys are playing with, they're fucking lies. They're invisible. It's invisible math. People are just inventing things in their fucking head. Boom. He just admitted it right there. It's a few days ago. Okay? On top of that, he's sitting there and he's like, oh, the key demo's likely going more to Max, which I knew it would. But you just said you don't know. You're lying. You're fucking admitting you're lying. It's not even catching you. You're just saying one thing and then saying a whole other fucking thing.
Tell us what you know, you goddamn liar!
But when it comes to Bethel, there you go. The 500,000 nobody knows. And Dave is saying he doesn't know. And how incompetent is Tony Khan that he doesn't fucking know? He hasn't walked into an office and been like, what are the fucking numbers? Like, Tony, who's representing you? Who's going to bat for you? Who are you going to bat for? What the fuck? You don't know your numbers. And Meltzer will sit there and go, the NBA doesn't know their numbers. Bro, the people who own and run the NBA know the people who need to know the numbers know the numbers. Trust me on that, dude. You're insane. Dave's fucking nuts, and he's just admitting we don't know, and it's so frustrating because we can't lie. The lies are frustrating because we tell lies and people call us on them, and then we say we actually don't know, it's invisible, and then they're mad, and we're like, oh, it's so frustrating.
Like you and I talk about, we have no idea what's doing. We
have no idea. We have no idea what it's doing. Then why do you ever talk about it?
Kind of an idea, but we really don't know because we're only getting 64% of the data or whatever you want to call it.
All right, last one here.
64, Nintendo 64. And then here's Dave, like he's going, Dynamite would have only needed 110,000 viewers on HBO Max to beat the number. I figure it would have gotten easily on a live and same day basis. But you just said you literally don't know, so how can you say easily? How could you say that? Well, I can estimate based on what? Well, I mean, come on, there's gotta be. I mean, there used to be 800,000 watched on. Yeah, and there used to be 11,000 people in the fucking buildings. And Tony Khan used to not cut corners on buildings, and he used to fucking just hire everyone. Things change, Dave. Seems like everything's trending downwards, and you're just pretending that the TV viewership's up, though. For the full week, Dynamite would need about 388,000 viewers on HBO Max to beat the US Raw figure as a full week number. I wouldn't rule that out, but wouldn't call it a sure thing. He has no idea what he's talking about. BJ Bethel just blowing him. The flute man cometh. Oh, BJ, is that like your name or is that what you do? Go. But he's like, must read. A must read. Jesus Christ. So LMAO, this is from Meltzer, said, what? Dynamite Dave saying Dana White's 60 Minutes interview didn't feel like a big deal because his usual sycophants didn't email him about it. So again, speaking of Dave's little followers, right? So 60 Minutes season 58 premiere scores over 10 million viewers, down slightly from previous opener. Exclusive. The episode was up 5% from its performance on the same night in 2024. So for those of you who don't know, 60 Minutes did a piece on Dana White, and they followed him around. They went to the casino with him and shit. And he went into the casino. He went down 1.2 million, and then he went up. And then he went up 700K by the time he left the casino. I mean, that's crazy. And yeah, there was a profile on Dana White. Yahoo's talking about it. And basically, Meltzer said what is responding to this. It averaged 10.025. And so Dave Meltzer, I guess, said that the Dana White interview didn't feel like a big deal because no one emailed him about it. I would love a clip of that, but you can just fucking, take Meltzer's word for that, unless he's being sarcastic. But I'm sure there's something I thought I bookmarked that I didn't, or it's somewhere here. But again, just speaking of numbers and all of this shit, we have Nicolo Piccolo going off. So Dave Meltzer says this to this guy, DYI, who says the script is flipped. Now that they can point to unconfirmed numbers from Max, viewership does matter again. And that's so true. Like, Dave just goes, oh, I'm sure the key demo's up. It has to be. I know it is. But there's no evidence of that. He's just saying that. Then he's like, we literally don't know, and blah, blah, blah. But his response to this is, except, yawn. Super tribal fans not realizing that it is the demo success of SmackDown that keeps them number 1 or number 2 most weeks, as tons of Fox News shows beat them in viewers. No, Dave, he didn't say anything about that. He didn't say anything about that. He's saying that you are now going to, what we just played a clip of you doing, go on your show and write in your newsletter that, well, for sure the key demo's up because they're watching on Max. And then you'll literally turn around and go, we actually don't know. We have no fucking clue. I'm just making it up. Okay, so what about WWE is this guy talking about, man? It's so fucking stupid. And then Nicolo Piccolo comes in and says, Dave, I'm genuinely not sure you understand this. Suggesting SmackDown competes with Fox News is the media analysis equivalent of saying 5G controls the weather. They control the weather, or that drinking bleach cures disease. It's absurd. Man, it's true, dude. And this is the thing. It's conspiracy theory shit, man. And here's the thing. We just pointed out and I just broke down and flipped out about Dave comparing like Gutfeld to fucking SmackDown or Dynamite to fucking the MLB game. It's like, no, dude, compare it to wrestling. He has no idea. It's all about media and ad sales. Right. That works differently for everything. Like, you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyways, so Nicolo Piccolo says SmackDown and Fox News aren't even in the same category. Advertisers, buyers, and network executives don't benchmark WWE against Hannity reruns. They measure it against live sports and primetime entertainment on broadcast and cable. And this is where Dave didn't study and learn. This is where he's gaslit for so fucking long. So many people, man. He's gaslit so many of his sycophants, I guess, which is like the through line of this episode.
You know, poor people don't like AEW.
And so Nick continues here. WWE sells into the same budget and demo pool as the NFL, NBA, scripted tentpoles, and other live entertainment properties. That's where the CPMs and brand safety considerations and rights values actually sit. No advertisers reallocating spend from cable news to buy WWE. They're entirely different marketplaces with different audiences and commercial objectives. Boom. That's what I said before. The only meaningful comparison is WWE against peer programming in its slot and the broader live sports entertainment bucket. That's why NBCU, Fox, and Netflix are paying billions for rights. Dragging cable news into this discussion is irrelevant, misleading, and shows a fundamental failure to grasp how media rights actually work, which genuinely isn't surprising by now either. And honestly, Dave, like, study Nick. He's giving you free game. He'll make you better at what you're doing, what you're trying to do. Just read what he, like, Tony Khan should hire this guy to like coach Dave on what to actually do. I'm not joking. Like, I'm not kidding when I say that. This guy's just spitting game. Like, why wouldn't you take him up on the shit he's saying? That's all. I don't know. Meltzer said what goes, Dave, you thought this fake Excel sheet was a WBD internal memo. You're not qualified to be a reporter for BJ Bethel's high school newspaper. Right? So he responds, you guys remember this spreadsheet that he got from like a Fightful Discord or something? $3,000 per ad and shit. He just what a dumbass. God damn, Dave is so stupid. That was one of the greatest fails ever. That was just last year, wasn't it? So Dave Meltzer opened his mouth about Andrade a little bit, and we're going to circle back to that because that's like the big, you know, Andrade made a shock debut back in AEW. We're all curious, you know, what does Dave Meltzer have to say about that? But Dave Meltzer also opened his mouth about a Latin American superstar and then had a little bit of a meltdown about it, a little Dave Melty, a Meltsy Seltsy. And, you know, Bad Bunny got announced as the Super Bowl halftime show, WWE superstar Bad Bunny. And I don't know, man. Some people are upset by it. Some people have pointed out that since Jay-Z has taken over the, you know, the like Rock Nation, I guess, books it. I didn't even know that. So they booked the Super Bowl halftime show, and I guess it's been all like hip hop artists or something since they've I think Kendrick did it, right? And then Weeknd, I don't think he's a rapper though, right? So it's just it's just Cuervo, Bryan, right? So to me, I don't listen to boomer takes like that. To me, I made the argument like, listen, man, and maybe this sounds kind of boomer, but like, okay, Kiss might not be around in 5 years. Why don't we give them one? They haven't done one. There's some people, like in 5 years, Bad Bunny could do a Super Bowl halftime show. It's all good. Some people saying like, some people are just triggered by it for whatever reason. And then they just talk about Bad Bunny like he's not a world famous guy. He really is. And to American audiences, they might not be singing all of his songs, but he's in movies with like Brad Pitt and shit. He was just in Sandler's newest flick. I know that movie, people say it sucked ass, but it was one of like the most watched shits on Netflix. So for whatever that's worth, like, people know who he is, and people know a couple of the songs, right? Like Chembe, yeah, that shit hits so hard at Backlash. Booker T's one of them, but maybe that's just the wrestling marks. I'm sure he has other hits. They're not radio hits in America, or in let's say, I'm sure they are in America though. Lots of people speak Spanish in America. You know what I mean? In Canada, maybe not so much, right? We speak en français and en anglais, right? But I mean, the Super Bowl, someone pointed out, is in San Francisco, right up my neck of the woods, Brian. I'm sure I'll be there. But Will Ospreay, if the Jacksonville Jaguars are there, Brian, I'll have front row seats. But when it comes to like Dave Meltzer, he tried to diminish Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny was trending, okay, because he's doing the Super Bowl halftime show. My whole thing is this, though. Shout out fucking Bad Bunny. I'm going to love that shit. It's going to be awesome, and he's going to crush it, I'm sure. I'm a big fan. As far as like his wrestling, he's a good actor. A few of his songs, I don't know all of his songs. I'm not going to lie, right? I don't sit here and bump Bad Bunny all the time. But Dave buried Bad Bunny in the past. And when he came to WWE, of course. And so this is like resurfaced and people started roasting Dave again. So let's just follow this here. Okay. Jason G from the SAT says, why did Dave delete this? Okay. And Jason G, this was, I think I don't know if he responded to it now or I remember years ago, Dave tried. Meltzer said, what pulls this card from 2021? That's all I know. We'll get to it. But basically what happened was Jason G said, bro, Dave Meltzer said that most people don't know who Bad Bunny is. Holy fuck. Bro is never beating the allegations. Okay? So he's sitting here saying that most people don't know who Bad Bunny.
Poor people don't like AEW.
Most people. That's a crazy fucking, like, yeah, most people don't, like, I guess if we're talking about the 8 or 9 billion people on Earth, yeah, Dave, maybe technically you're right, but what are you talking about? And it's crazy, too, because Bad Bunny's a global superstar, and they're trying to make football global and shit. And they have, like, a Latin American football league, I believe, as well. And they want to take all the European fans of soccer and shit and hopefully convert them to NFL fans and stuff, right? Like, I feel like that's been an initiative for a while in the NFL. So I don't know what this asshole's talking about here. But Dave Meltzer says, you know how many years ago this was? So again, people were like bringing it up, dude. Okay, I thought Dave repeated this in 2025. He did not. They just were pulling and bringing up when he said this in 2021. We're about to own Dave, though, because when he said this in 2021, it was just as egregious. And he got clowned just as hard because he's just as big of a dumbass for saying it then as him defending it now and then deleting this. He deleted this post. Shout out Jason G for screen grabbing this. So Dave says, you know how many years ago this was in the context? It was Garrett Gonzalez, who is Mexican. Okay. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? And also, where is Bad Bunny from? He's not Mexican, bro. So Dave does this thing like he's Puerto Rican. Oh, yeah, of course, right? Chambea Backlash, right? Duh, dummy. He's Puerto Rican. He did this same thing where he's like, oh, Lola Vice isn't Mexican. How dare she wrestle at AAA? He's just such an ignorant. I'm not a virtue signaler, but Dave is oddly misogynistic and he's oddly racialist, But he goes, it was Garrett Gonzalez, who is Mexican, asking me if my son, then in high school in a heavy Mexican-American area. Cuervo. We were doing shots of Cuervo, Brian. Oh my God, this guy's lost touch with reality. It was Garrett Gonzalez. This is like the equivalent of, well, I have a black friend. It was Garrett Gonzalez, who is Mexican, asking me if my son, pretty much a Mexican, goes to school with Mexicans, Brian, in a heavy Mexican-American area. And his friends knew who Bad Bunny was. By coincidence, I had been out to dinner with many of his friends a week or two earlier and asked if they knew Jake Paul or Bad Bunny. Dave, you're lying. You never, by coincidence. Nope. Liar! Nope. That did not happen. You're lying. And you didn't ask them if they know by coincidence who Jake Paul and Bad Bunny were. They all knew Jake Paul and said everyone hated him and none knew Bad Bunny. That's all. It was recounting a story. Yeah, because you are like out of touch fucking rich white dudes, man. I don't expect you to know about Bad Bunny or whatever. And his song Booker T. You know, like I don't expect, like, what are you talking about? Dave is in such a fucking echo chamber bubble, and he always does this thing. Like he just buried his son and his son's Mexican friends there, or whatever he's trying to say. He just buried them. He just my girlfriend said that the luchas were so cool. Like he just throws people under the bus. It's ridiculous. And so Meltzer said, post this from 2021. I would love to know the sample size of Dave's poll to determine whether Bad Bunny is beloved or hated by an entire population of people. Let's see. He talked to Garrett and Brian. Both have Mexican, maybe LAX or Sammy, Mike Tenay and Excalibur. They know Excalibur. And so Dave said this on his message board in 2021. There is no evidence of this, but that's the most obvious point that will go ignored in Garrett, who is half Mexican, asking me if he's had an effect on ratings and me explaining. So this is talking about Bad Bunny. So because Garrett's Mexican and fucking Bad Bunny's Puerto Rican, somehow Garrett is the expert on the effects on ratings because him and his abuela are fucking, him and his hermano Dave are eating fucking tacos and what are you fucking like? Come on, man. Are eating tacos and having a siesta, watching together? Oh, that Bad Bunny's on. It's a fucking Viva la Raza. Like, fuck, Dave. You're such an ignorant motherfucker. So, who was half Mexican asking me, ask his Irish side what he thought about the ratings when fucking Sheamus popped up, you asshole. Asking me if he's had an effect on ratings and me explaining it in detail. And thus being racialist to clowns who didn't listen to a word of it. Anyway, well, holy shit. Yeah, Dave, it's because what you're saying is ignorant. Ask a Puerto Rican. And even then, who gives a fuck? Don't ask anyone because you're all morons, okay? Just look at the fucking data and report on that. Stop fucking trying to play these games. Anyways, Dave goes, anyway, well, he is a huge star. The point that this is not a transcendent Cyndi Lauper angle thus far. Yeah, Dave, because he's not a dinosaur? Because he didn't come out in 1964 when you were 25 years old, you son of a bitch.
Sometimes in life, you got to be a hoe.
Certainly appears to be the case right now. Perhaps history will say differently and ratings will start shooting through the roof next week. Dave, you don't get it. Like, if you listen to music, you're not just going to watch pro wrestling because the guy who sings music that you like is on the fucking pro wrestling show. Just like if you like pro wrestling, you're not going to go listen to this guy's music. Let's say you don't like hip hop music and they use a Cardi B song. You're not going to like go out and buy Cardi B's fucking album or whatever. You know, he just lives in, he doesn't quite grasp. There's like a connection issue there where Dave just like throws shit out there. You know, he thinks that you could compare like a bucket of paint to an orange or whatever when it comes to fucking their functionality and shit. Like there's just a lack of, there's like a disconnect there with reality. And then this guy, Andre, says Bad Bunny was the most streamed artist in the world when Dave said that. And Meltzer said, what? Says that's a bingo. Bad Bunny was the most streamed Spotify artist in the world in 2020 before Dave's comment in 2021. So the year before Dave said this, okay? And Dave's such a dumb fuck. He doesn't even know that, like, He doesn't even know what Spotify is. He doesn't even know his podcast's probably on Spotify. He doesn't even know. Okay. And Bad Bunny was the most streamed. The Puerto Rican rapper. Oh, those rappers. I mean, you can have 20 of those guys there, Brian. And it's like, I'm uncomfortable. So again, Mexican people know about Puerto Rican Bad Bunny. And then he calls people clowns. He has the audacity to be like, you're clowns if you call me racialist for saying that. So 2020's most streamed Spotify artist versus Dinosaur Dave's 2021 comments about Bad Bunny. Maybe you should learn and study beyond just asking your kid and half Mexican co-hosts who know nothing about pop culture or hip hop or fucking Puerto Rico or fucking anything or pro wrestling. Jesus Christ, man. So moving along here. Meltzer said, what post this? They really had the gall to print this in today's Observer daily report about Bad Bunny, as if Dave wasn't labeling him an ethnic celebrity a few years ago, as to why the audience wouldn't recognize or care about him in WWE. So Dave says Bad Bunny was announced as one of the halftime stars at the Super Bowl this year. Yeah, my whole thing with that is, and I know I said this before, but let me just reiterate it, man. Get people that we might not be able to get in the next 5 years, give them their, I think Kiss should do a Super. I keep saying that because they have hits, man. Who has hits? None of these people got hits anymore. None of these people are, you'd have to combine 3 of these new singer girls to equal one Lady Gaga or Madonna as far as pop culture level of influencing pop culture and shit. Like Sabrina Carpenter, I couldn't even tell you one song. You just hear her name. What has she done? Honest to God. And, she's selling out everywhere. That's great. I'm not diminishing that. I'm sure she's a great singer, great talent, all that shit. But is she, going to have a name like Madonna? No. Okay? It's just a come and go. There was that other, Olivia Rodrigo is one of them. It's just you're not fucking, you're selling out buildings. People love your music and shit. I'm not diminishing. It's not for me. I totally get that. But it's who are the superstars now? Beyonce and shit. It just seems like we don't have people at that fucking level. Everything's becoming more niched off. Everything's like a niche of a niche now, in a way. And some are just bigger than others. You know what I mean? But with that being said, if they're Sabrina Carpenter's doing the halftime show, I'm not going to be oh, this is fucking stupid. My take would just be well, who are the icons that haven't done it yet that should, who had hits, man, that we can all name, every classics, generational songs. You know what I mean? I want to see some of them just get it in before we're unable to. John Cena's last, maybe I'm just in my fifis because we got John Cena's last match coming up. AJ's going to retire. You know what I mean? We got all these wrestlers taking off. Maybe I just keep the same energy towards the Super Bowl personally. And I like Bad Bunny, but yeah, for people freaking out like Dave, and I'll ask Mexican folk if they love him. Oh, there'll be a lot of Mexicans there, Brian. It just don't even comment on it, But anyways, he says this news brought about some of the worst dregs of society commenting negatively about a foreigner. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory being allowed to perform at the Super Bowl. Dave, you were the one, literally, we just covered it, saying you had to ask your Mexican friends and your son who went to a Mexican school. Meanwhile, this guy's fucking Puerto Rican. And you were essentially saying nobody knows who he is. He's just an ethnic. How did Meltzer say worded? An ethnic celebrity. Yeah. So again, there it is right there. Here's Squared Circle. What do you agree with Dave Meltzer's view that Bad Bunny is an ethnic celebrity and most people don't know who he is? That's what Dave.
The Bad Bunny reactions.
Here's the fucking clip. This is from, I think, March 30th. Let's take a listen. This is from probably 2021 as well.
It's going to be interesting too. Because he's a celebrity, but he's a celebrity. He's a celebrity to an audience and a giant celebrity to that audience. But most people don't know who he is, or they, some people might have seen him on the Grammys or whatever, but it's a different, he's an ethnic celebrity. He's a giant ethnic celebrity.
There you go. And now Dave's saying the worst dregs of society are being racialist towards Bad Bunny and shit. Yeah, buddy, that's pretty much what you did when it came to burying him when he joined WWE. Oh, he's only over in Puerto Rico to the Mexicans there in Puerto Rico.
But a lot of people at WrestleMania are not of that ethnicity. So,
what the fuck does that even mean? A lot of people who watch WWE, they're not Mexican, Brian. They're not of that ethnicity. Dave, what are you talking about, man? He's lost his goddamn mind. This was so long ago, too.
It's not like, I don't know. It's not like, a celebrity that is a big celebrity, but everyone in the culture knows.
Everyone in the culture. What does that even mean? See, this is why these dumb fucks go on Twitter and go, WWE's a mega company and shit, because Dave has spent so much time just putting people in a box. WWE is the most diverse company with the most diverse athletes, with the most diverse range of wrestling and superstars on the roster, and the fan base is the same thing. All ages, all shapes and sizes, all colors and creeds. And he pretends, those white trash, poor, low IQ, dumb fuck hillbillies who listen to Kid Rock, Brian. What do they know?
It's a completely different situation.
Well,
the Bad Bunny reaction.
Then they go to Puerto Rico and the whole fucking one of the greatest entrances of all time. Chambea, fucking building shaking. Oh, look at all that white trash, Brian. The worst dregs of society. And then fast forward 4 years, the worst dregs of society. My son went to a mostly Mexican school. I'm cultured. Fuck, dude. What a dummy. So moving along here, I think we have one more on the Bad Bunny thing. Well, no, actually, sorry. Let's transition over to Tryin' Bryan here. We're going to talk about Tryin' Bryan. So, NXT and TNA have been having an invasion that's been going on, right? Bryan Alvarez doesn't really watch TNA, but once they started picking up steam, he's like, I guess I'll watch it. And then he just started burying it, of course, even though he just started watching it. So it's like, shut the fuck up. Or watching it again, whatever. And then NXT's like, I only watch it because it's my job. I fucking hate this show. Meanwhile, you couldn't be a more out of touch boomer type motherfucker like Dave talking about culture. What's in the culture? Okay. NXT is where it's at, man. I'm sorry. That's might be my favorite wrestling show every fucking week. All the old heads I talk to, I go on JJ Alexander's show. That's my guy. He's one of these guys who buries NXT too. Okay, he's just from a time before. I don't get triggered by it. It's from a time before me, right? Alvarez, though, and Dave, who vehemently reject that they're out of touch, right? I tell JJ, I'm like, I just don't know if it's for you. He accepts that, okay? Brian and Dave, no, we're objective. We're the observers. We're Figure 4 Online. Unite. Right? No, actually, we're in touch. We understand. We're hip with it. That's what Dave wants to believe, and he's even projected that on other people. You're out of touch. People who are out of touch, old podcasters. It's like, Dave, you're 1,000 years old, right? So we called that this was going to happen. Brian was going to start hating on TNA, and he was going to start going off. We called this to a T as well a long time ago. Phil, don't miss, man. Brian is going to start trashing NXT hard, really hard, because the rate, and Dave is too. I'm surprised Dave doesn't trash it more than he does, but I don't think he honestly watches NXT. I think he just skips that entirely, and maybe he admits that. I'm not sure, but I don't think he watches it at all. And then sometimes he'll watch the PLEs, then he's like, my God, these matches are just they do move after move after move, and it's they kick out of everything. Yeah, you're describing everything AEW does ever, and then you pop for it like a little kid with keys being dangled in front of them. However, in WWE, you have to watch every week, because in NXT, they don't do that every match. And then the PLEs, they go all out. Pun intended, if you'd like. I know Dave probably got tickled by that too, by hearing me say that, because I know he's listening. NXT, and WWE in general, they save the crazy matches for the main events and like the blow-offs, you know? They kind of stack their cards. Like, they try and open with something hot. Typically it's promo related. And then they build up for the main event that they try and go all out. And then in the middle of the show somewhere, you get like Penta snaps in a match, or, you know, you get some, they try and give you something to go like, holy shit, that might be match of the night or whatever the fuck. Because the endings of the shows oftentimes have, you know, schmazzes and shit, or it'll be a clean finish, then a schmazz or whatever the fuck. And that's all these wrestling shows, because you're trying to sell us on coming back and watching the next show, and you want to sell us on the pay-per-view. So Dave and Brian's criticisms of NXT are just largely out of touch. And they're also projecting what Dynamite is onto NXT, because NXT is incredibly story-based, man, and they have great television timed matches, like solid. Oh, that was a solid TV match. It's like studio wrestling. It's a throwback, but just modernized. That's how I describe it. Alfred Konuwa would say it's African NXT. It's Women NXT as well. I call it Women NXT. Either way, I digress. Dynamite and AEW, when you watch that shit, they throw everything at the wall. It's less story-based, less cohesive story. It's just like shit to make marks pop. Like, it's not really nothing to sink your teeth into. It's just elementary level storytelling. And then they just go all out every fucking match, 3-segment matches and shit. And then the pay-per-views are the same. It's just matches that go way too long for 6 hours. In WWE, it's more story-based. Why? You go to the PLE, it's just all wrestling, 4 hours. Fucking wrestling straight through it. And you even get some promo time in there and shit. It's way more easy to digest. It's like any food. It's like any form of consumption. You drink too much water, you die. You have to you drink enough, you drink the right amount, you're hydrated, you digest it properly. Same with your food. How many times your mama tell you, slow down when you're eating? Why? Because you hurt your fucking belly. You can't just shove shit in your fucking face. Okay? But Dave never learned this lesson, and these sickos, they never learned this lesson. They think just throw 80 billion moves, you don't remember any of them. None of it means anything. And this is what they're trying to say goes on in NXT. Why? Because NXT's kicking Dynamite's ass. We knew they were going to start going super hard artificially. That's why this whole NXT broke Brian's brain. This is just entirely fake theater school, Joey Ryan level shitty acting bullshit that Brian's doing. That's why not even his co-hosts or any of these sycophants he does shows with, or I don't want to call Tom Lawler or Lance Storm sycophants, but they no-sell it because they're fucking legends in the game. And they're like, dude, no, you're just talking out of your ass here. And they're going to trash TNA and NXT because they're shaking in their boots about this AEW TV deal and how it affects them going into 2027 and 2026. And Dave knows Tony might have to accept something way less. I don't even know if they'll be on TBS and shit anymore. I mean, I'm on True TV or something. We've been making that joke, but it could be realer and realer. No, none of that matters because it's on streaming, but they might also not be on the streamer anymore. But I don't know. Maybe they just say, fuck it. It'll be a YouTube show and a show that we stream on our shit. But then they'll just send it to what does WBD own? They own one of those free ones, like a Plex or Tubi or Roku or whatever the fuck. I'm sure they own one of those where it'd be like, no, you're on this free shit with Evolve. And I'm taking a long way of getting to this point here, okay? It's just artificial anger towards NXT, TNA, and burying it, and this whole WWE should have learned their lesson. It's just gaslighting because they're super worried about what's about to happen with Paramount and this Warner Bros. Deal that's going down. And Paramount just got into the Zuffa boxing business, UFC and all that. So it's all connected. Niccolo Piccolo predicted all this shit as well. So Shout him out. But yeah, let's listen to Bryan's like fake anger. Saint anger round my neck.
There was a PLE, right? Here to talk NXT.
A low-level PLE.
It was a low-level PLE. I realize I'm mad at NXT right now, but I think we all have to admit, like on the scale of NXT PLEs, this was rock bottom. I mean, I shouldn't say rock bottom.
There's not the days of TakeOver.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that because it's a lie and you're fucking coping and it's bullshit and you know it.
Although it maybe was rock bottom. There was nothing bad.
No.
It was worse than like NXT 2.0, early days NXT 2.0 PLEs. You're just lying. This is fake. This is fake right here.
On the show. There was nothing as bad as that three-way on SmackDown. But
that's good.
I mean,
no one died here.
There was nothing. I mean, there was one match that was almost like great.
I hate that like filthy Tom Lawler and howdy ho, guys. Sorry, yeah, that happened on my last live show too. Here we were in the middle of this Try and Bryan video here. Dial up, yeah. Sorry about that, chat. I don't know what happened. It just blanked out for a second here. So we're back. I don't know. It might be StreamYard too, to be honest. It fucks up. But anyways, I was going off here about Bryan, and I don't know what you guys missed, so I'll just bring it back here, and we'll listen to the last 10 seconds of this video again.
There's nothing. I mean, there was one match that was almost great, and everything else was good. It's very lackluster by.
Oh, right. So the gentleman here goes, and I don't know his name, but the big fella, he goes, well, I like good wrestling. And he's like, well, it was just good. And I was going off on a tangent about the thing about a good wrestling show. It's not pile drivers through the table. You do everything all at once. It's about okay, we know this match. They're going to go out there and compete. That's the beauty of pro wrestling. You try and compete, and you do try and have the best match, especially on the pay-per-views. But when it comes to developing talent and doing weekly television, and when it comes to the PLEs, you have to pace things. Some matches are supposed to be over the top, fucking crazy, memorable, weapons involved, Some matches are supposed to be, they never leave the ring and they tell a great story without even going to the outside once. Bar maybe to jump off the top rope or something into the ring. Okay, Penta's going to do a destroyer off the top rope. So you're not going to go out there and do a destroyer at all tonight, right? We want that to look, that sort of thing. But again, so Bryan's just coping here. It's fake. It's a fake fucking anger towards NXT. He's sitting here well, it was just good. It wasn't phenomenal. Yeah, but what's wrong with a good wrestling show? You guys are overly indulgent. You want it all to be 6 stars in the Tokyo Dome. It can't all be that. Otherwise, none of it is that. It can't all be fucking chocolate cake all day. You get fucking diabetes, bro. You know what I mean? It can't just all be this is Wagyu beef. Okay, you can't just eat Wagyu beef all the time. You get gout. Ask Husey about that, right? So moving along here. Let's hit play, actually.
Standards.
Yeah, but I'm okay with watching good wrestling.
It was just good, though. The problem is you can watch all sorts of shows and you can see great wrestling. There was a PLE, right?
You can watch. The problem is you can watch all sorts of shows and see great wrestling. Right. But are you invested in those characters? And also, what makes great wrestling? Just the moves? So you mean to tell me Javon Evans doesn't sell well? You mean to tell me Oba Femi doesn't sell just the right amount and plays the big guy very well? You mean to tell me Ricky Saints isn't a good wrestler, former AEW? So you could go to AEW and watch better wrestling, according to you, Bryan. Oh, you can go anywhere and watch people do moves, Bryan. You're an asshole. Okay?
Bryan.
Anyways, moving along here. So Bryan, he's going viral for the shit. And I know people think Dave and Bryan, I don't know what they're doing. They're playing the social media game. We're talking about them, blah, blah, blah. I get it, but it's not working. I know that they think oh, I'll clip this up and go viral for this. No, it's not working. You guys are doing 50% off sales and fire sales. You've undermined. It's like making a bunch of products and being these are collector's items, or you pay a subscription and you get these things. And someone's paying that price. Someone paid that price for a thing, for an item. And then all of a sudden you just start telling people, well, this item's now just $5 for anyone who buys it now, a year later. You guys get what I'm getting at? You're the people who bought it for fucking $25 or whatever, the $14.99 or what was it? They feel robbed, and the price went up, and it goes down, and it goes up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down all the time because, well, it's $14.99 now. It used to be $2, but with 50% off, I mean, I'm no mathematician, Bryan, but BJ Bethel says that's $8.50 or something. I don't know. If you factor in the max numbers, it's $8.50. Right? So I get it. They think they're boosting their business or getting numbers or going viral with this shit. It's not working though. Or you wouldn't be doing fire sales. You would be oh, the Observer's $20 now. And then everyone would just buy it and pay for it. Right? So here we go.
Remember I did that big long thing and I said I didn't care anymore?
No, I don't. Could you do it
again?
again?
I did.
Do it again.
I'm not doing it again. Actually, I might in the middle of this. I'm already starting to sweat. I am going to get on another rant. I got to say one other thing about this. Put that phone away. Because I'm going to quiz you.
All right.
Let me tell you something. What year is it?
2025.
Okay.
Is that the quiz?
No, well, it's one of them. What year did Luthez win his first world title?
Not 2025.
1937.
Okay.
I was going to say 1930 something, but I don't want to fake the funk and make a guess and sound fucking stupid. But here we go.
Luthez
Yes, it is.
I
won
thought it was earlier than that, though.
his first world title
Like early 30s, but here we go.
at 21. You watch college football, Vinny?
Sometimes.
Okay, how many 40-year-olds are like stars in college football?
Oh my God. See, Brian, you're such a fucking boomer, bro. That's the problem with sports now. Bryan Alvarez. That's the problem. UFC has this problem. Guys are 6-0. They get a few fucking fights. They're being pushed as, oh, they're the next big thing. That's the problem. They're pushing some of these young guys way too quick and throwing them in there. Even look at a guy like Connor McDavid. He's the next Crosby. He's the next Kratzky. Can't even win a fucking chip. Why? Because but when he was 17, they were saying he was the next big fucking thing. I get it. Yes, in wrestling, anomalies, Brock Lesnar's, etc. Yes, they should win the titles. Here's the thing. In pro wrestling, you get better with age. You dumb fuck. You schmarmy, fake, dumb fuck who doesn't understand goddamn pro wrestling. Okay? In wrestling, you get better with time. If you take care of your body and you fucking do it longer, you can do it better. It's not the same in sports. In sports, you got to go. Even in acting as well. When do people, you want to go in the entertainment route? Okay. Pedro Pascal didn't get super famous till how old was he? Right? Ana de Armas got famous, like kind of out of nowhere. It's not like she was, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe was she famous when she was like 20 and shit? I don't think so. I think she was. Here you go, ageist Phil here. But listen, it's just different. It's a whole different thing. You're talking about pro wrestling. You want to take care of your fucking body, and then the longer you can go, the better you're going to get at psychology and shit. This dumb fuck with CTE doesn't understand this.
Very few.
Okay, they're all what, 21?
Roughly.
They're all in college? Yeah. And last time I checked, like college football does great numbers.
And I'm not saying everyone has to be 40 and shit. I'm not saying that. But in wrestling, typically, it's the more reps you put in. It's like the entertainment, the old saying in the entertainment biz, like whether it's comedy or whatever, it's like you got to put 10 years in, they say. And then you're like, then you're good to go. Like then you break through. It takes people about 10 years. Okay, but then some people just get famous when they're 14 and shit. Some people are Justin Bieber. Brian doesn't understand that. Oh, these college football players, how old are they? Well, yeah, they're in college. Well, then they go to the NFL, they're like 21. Yeah. And how many of them go on to be like the Tom Brady's and shit? You're talking about like the cream of the crop in WWE. You're like, he needs to go be world. Javon's so over. Okay, but if he goes to the main roster, is it going to translate? They tested it out recently. The problem with these fickle fucking sicko fans, man, sicko fans like Brian, Trying Brian, and Dave, they just want it all at once. And so do the sickos.
Better than ever, in fact.
I don't see the problem with young people playing college football. The only place where you're too young to get pushed at 21 is professional wrestling in 2025 in like WWE.
This is such a bad point. Oh, man, when you're 21, you're old enough to play college football, right? Yeah. Okay, NXT is the college of WWE, you stupid asshole. It's the junior league. It's the college league. Brian, before you get to fucking WWE, like, before you get to the NHL. The fuck is your, like, the college football is what you do before NFL. Like, how could you be this stupid and think you're cooking? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't believe this.
It's
mental.
I didn't care until I saw that match, and then I started caring again.
So, the matches were only good, but Javon's so good he should be the world champion. So you're a lying piece of shit then. It was only good matches. I mean, it was just good. It was the rock bottom worst of the worst of NXT. But I mean, Javon, man, why isn't he world champion right now?
Bryan.
Because you're just lying and this is fake.
Liar!
You're full of complete and utter shit right now.
But you just
Guys,
said you don't
I'm
care.
50. You guys understand? I'm 50 years old.
Yeah, we can tell.
I can't tolerate watching another promotion filled with people that can't see talent.
So no one on the main roster's talented. Braun Breaker's not talented. Well, that's not what I'm saying. Well, it is, because you're sitting here going, this company can't see talent. So that's why Javon just fucking is going to be the next NXT champion when Saints and Paige and these guys go up in a minute here, when Orton and AJ Styles and Cena and all these guys retire in like a year. And we know that it's happening. And so when they all fucking move on in like the next year or two, and we see Ethan Page and all Obafemi and all these guys up there, and Javon Evans maybe even, when Javon's the face of NXT and they're beating, and NXT's beating Dynamite in the ratings every week, they're not seeing the talent there, Brian. It's just insane. I can't rack my head around the idea, Brian. And so here's what Brian had to say about the NXT invasion. Also, there's some Dave Meltzer in here, which is pretty funny. I believe this is with Meltzer. And then they're going to talk about SmackDown a little bit again, which we heard a snippet of earlier, but we have a clip. So Brian's like, this NXT show's off the rails. This show's getting stupid and shit. It was such an epic brawl at the end of the fucking show. Oh, what? Because they didn't break the guy's ankles and staple gun him, and then somebody didn't get hanged with a chain before being thrown in a body bag and then lit on fire. It wasn't good? Or is it what about this brawl? The crowd was going nuts. Everyone watching is like, holy shit. I don't know, man. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Everyone watching in the crowd was losing their fucking minds. We seen the crowd footage of some of it. Right. I was watching at home, like it's anecdotal on my part, but I was like, holy fuck, I told you guys, I rewound it, I paused it, all this shit, you know?
Brother,
I'm like looking for who's brawling who, you know? I'm like, who's getting heat on who right now? I might have to remember that for later, you know?
this NXT show is off the rails. This show was...
And that's the whole point, too. This show is... hopefully he's praising it with off the rails. I don't know. Maybe I'm going into it just assuming he's going to be negative about it. So far, he's like, it was off the rails. But if he's going to say that negatively, it's supposed to be off the rails. TNA's invading. It's a showdown. Aren't you watching the show, dude? This episode was supposed to be like, what the fuck, man? It's all just devolving into a brawl, a free-for-all.
So stupid last night.
Oh, there you go. Look at this asshole.
I thought that the invasion, like the famous WCW, WWF invasion, was just about the stupidest invasion I've ever seen. Ava said, I met with Santino Marella, and we spoke for hours, she said.
Hours.
They spoke for hours to figure out what to do about this.
This is playing such semantic. How about this? How about people join the Don Callis family and there's no explanation. Okay. How about Jungle Boy returns after helping the Bucks invade AEW and pile drive Tony Khan and shit, and then he disappears, and then he comes back after putting people in body bags and kidnapping them and bringing dinosaurs back to life like Frankensteins and shit in a lab, and then he just shows up and is a good guy going, jungle life, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. How about that? Why aren't you freaking out about that? Oh, they added some story. They tried to go, we talked for hours. Yeah, because they're trying to talk about what each of their rosters should do. Like, yeah, maybe that doesn't make sense in 2025. Okay, that's such a nitpicky fucking thing to even bring up. And this made it off the rails. Here we go.
And they came up with the idea of this, what was it then called, the Invasion pay-per-view. Would anybody like to guess who Santino chose as the captain of his women's TNA team? He chose
the TNA He's acting. Holy fuck! Oh my God, he's acting like, dude, yes, she won the TNA title. And so now he scooped her away. He scooped her away. Now do the men's team. Now do the men's team.
An NXT woman holding a TNA title.
Yup, because she just won it last minute after Ash by Elegance. See, you're not watching TNA, bro. You're not up on the shits. You shouldn't be commenting on it.
It's dumb enough.
Remember when like Hitchestera would come in and they'd be like, I keep going to Hitchestera. I'm sorry. I don't even really hate him. I'm not like I'm just not like overly a fan or anything like that, you know, or like overly familiar with his body of work. But, you know, who would come into the company? Like, just name a guy would come into AEW and they'd be like, fucking Yuka Sakazaki's coming in. Like, Google it. Remember what the sickos would always say? You can Google who these people are. You can Google this person. They'd always say that shit. Now, Bryan doesn't understand, like, yeah, everyone's watching NXT and TNA right now. That's why TNA is getting hot. Kalani just won it at the PLE out of nowhere. It was a surprise to everybody. And now that she won the TNA title a few days later in Wrestling Kayfabe storyline, it's fucking she's defected to TNA effectively. Like, we're not able to suspend disbelief and watch this wrestling. Bryan's reacting to it like fucking wrestling's real and this all isn't just a work or whatever. He's lost his shit as well. He's becoming Dave Meltzer. Okay?
Like, they did this during the original invasion, the WWF, WCW invasion. It's dumb enough that someone from the other side is on the other team.
No. This is why you're wrong. It was dumb because it was like Stone Cold and shit. They had like DDP doing dumb shit when he should have been on Team Alliance or whatever. That's why it was dumb. This makes sense. This makes perfect story. There has to be one person who defects. We have to, a plot line. He's like offended at good story. He's offended that there's story on the wrestling TV show, the episodic sports entertainment wrestling show. What a dumbass. This is such a cope. This is coping so hard. Oh, it's like when Stone Cold was on the Alliance, or Kurt Angle or whatever joined WCW. Well, someone had to do it. It was bad. You're right. You're right about that part. But this makes perfect sense. And now do the men's team and do the rest of the women's team. Criticize it. Criticize the men's team. It's Team TNA through and through. They didn't do that on the men's side. Trick has the TNA title and they put him on the NXT side. The story they're telling is Kalani's defecting. There has to be some of that if you do it correctly. The problem with the invasion is they did it incorrectly and they had DDP there and shit and they didn't use them.
That's stupid enough.
It's not
But
stupid. You're stupid.
They chose someone from the other side with one of the belts, which is why the other side was angry in the first place. Kalani Jordan, NXT wrestler Kalani Jordan.
This is why they're mad. And then, oh boy. He's not watching the show. I swear to God. This is actually insane. Actually, well, you know, Bryan, this is why they were mad. Yeah. So this is why Kalani's defecting. It's a fucking war. They're trying to piss each other off. It's part of the storyline.
Who is the TNA Knockouts champion, is the captain of Team TNA. Now, if that isn't dumb enough, the Knockouts champion, who is actually an NXT wrestler, is the captain of the TNA team, but the NXT wrestler who is the TNA men's champion is actually on the NXT team as the TNA champion. I'm done. You take over.
Right. I'm done. Take over. Okay, now do the men's team, though, on both sides. Who's on the TNA team for the men's, Bryan? And all the sickos complaining, it's all ex-WWE guys in there? Who's on the TNA teams, though? They're trying to tell stories here, okay? We're looking at Javon Evans and Miles Bourne, who could potentially be, you're talking about, oh, why isn't Javon Evans pushed? He could be the TNA world champion in the next year for all we fucking know. They're just trying to tell stories here. I know that you don't grasp that because you're, for some reason, you just like moves and shit, Bryan. I just think you're lying. I think Bryan's faking the funk. And here's him just talking about shitting on Tiffy and Nia and him and Dave. We have one last little chunk of stuff to talk about here as we have to talk about AEW and Andrade joining AEW again. Okay, and we have the clips up there. But first, SmackDown. Okay, they just can't help but shit on this Nia again. And these are the people saying Nia should be fired and pinned and fucking beat to oblivion and sent packing and have to apologize. And then the wrestlers have to stand up and go, no, stupid assholes. Nia's like our locker room leader. She's wrestling Green Jade, and Jade had a fucking smile on her face. Not saying it's a good thing, but like she earned that stripe. I've made the metaphor and I was funny about it before. Go watch my other shows. Here's what Dave and Bryan had to say about this SmackDown match. Meanwhile, they glaze fucking the rope work of Hitchasera. I'm sorry, Hitchasera. I like you, bro. I'm not even a hater on you like that. It's just the name Dave keeps using, so I got to keep. We'll go to Mystico again.
I thought it was the worst WWE match of the year. You know?
Oh, it was bad.
I mean, it was. I was shocked at how bad it was. They've done this match at house shows. It's a practiced match. And, you know, it's the same match that they've done. And the finish of that match is the spot where when the ref stopped counting, that's the spot where has been the finish at the house show. So I believe that was the final spot. Daphne, the referee, pretty much like wrote something that was.
Look at his face. This is what she wrote. I see all the love. I'm just human, but I can promise that I strive to always be better, which will forever be my goal as long as I'm on this journey. I love this just like y'all. That I can swear to you. They have the worst refs. I mean, she's no Aubrey Edwards, Bryan. That's what the fuck, Dave. Look at the look on his face. She wrote like a loving message, like apologizing and being like, I'll be better. Like, I love this shit. I fucked up. And then Dave's gonna
the best guys, Tony Khan.
The best gals, Aubrey Ed.
Spot Daphne, the referee, pretty much like wrote something that was, I don't know if it's, would you say, incriminating. Somebody made a mention about the referee in a negative.
You should go to jail, lock her up.
Way, and Jade, I think, liked it or retweeted it or something like that, which I also thought was. Whatever it was, how that was brought up was very unlike WWE, to say the least.
The theory I heard was maybe
a theory. She just fucked up the count. There's no theory, you asshole.
Tiffany was supposed to break it up and immediately steal the pin. But because Nia kicked out, because Tiffany wasn't going to be there on time, somebody in the back was like, she can't just be pinned now. She just kicked out. So tell her to kick out. And either the ref didn't say it loud enough or Nia didn't hear it or whatever. And so the ref counted 2, expecting her to kick out, and then she didn't. And then, like, the whole thing went all to hell.
It was just a bad night. I mean, there's nothing else really to say.
Just a bad night. Yeah, I guess maybe it was a little bit. So, you know, Andrade, he returned to Dynamite, and on a week where Dave can't tell the difference between a Puerto Rican and a Mexican, and he's flipping out about Bad Bunny, and now he's talking about what is it here? Hispanic wrestlers. So he's got a hot take. This fucking boomer's got a hot take on Hispanic wrestlers, and I'm gonna give Dave Meltzer a little credit here. Okay, I know.
We have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
Okay, but I'll give Dave this. I know that that's true. He fears flutes, but I'll give Dave this. He buried Andrade before when he was in AEW, and he is burying Andrade again. Now, I like Andrade. You guys know that. I was shocked when he left WWE. Well, I wasn't shocked he got released, I'm going to be honest, but I was shocked that, like, he just was disgruntled there as well. I thought he'd be happy, but then when he divorced Charlotte, it's like, well, he wanted to go there because his wife was there and he was angry in AEW, and people have pointed out it seems like he might be the problem as far as, like, his backstage antics and shit. Okay, sure. This is all I'm saying, man. I'm a fan of his work. You know, he is a really good wrestler. He had some solid matches. Like if you're just again looking at the moves and the matches and shit, his storylines. I mean, even in NXT Gold, they weren't the strongest. He was just having bangers in an era where it was like, I can't wait for Takeover. You know, these takeovers are fucking insane. You know, so Andrade has come a long way, but Dave chalked him up and lumped him into a group of one of these guys like Rusev, Aleister Black, Andrade. They just like want to go to AEW until the deal's up, then go back to WWE, you know? And Dave doesn't really like that Andrade is in AEW again. And I can't imagine this will bode well backstage. I mean, if you guys remember, Hurt Syndicate showed up in AEW and Dave buried them as well. And look, we've heard about like, oh, they won't put people over, and we've heard bullshit drama. So is there going to be more bullshit drama? I know Andrade, I think he had problems with Sammy Guevara. Well, Sammy Guevara's been banished to ROH because of Mercedes Moné. I think Andrade might have had problems with like Eddie Kingston once as well, didn't he? I'm not sure, but Andrade will like fucking smack you, okay? Like that's the thing. He's not gonna take shit from people, okay? I don't know what people expect from this guy. And he's not there to fuck around, right? And he'll do work. I mean, we saw him in that Hardy faction bullshit. Like he'll fucking do his job, but like he will also take off when he wants to. A couple of months. Maybe he realized like, the AEW schedule is actually better. I'm divorced from my wife and I don't even need to be here. You know, maybe that just dawned on. Who fucking knows? But I'll give Dave credit for, if he had problems with Eddie Kingston, though, Eddie Kingston, I mean, the sheet's already shat on him and they'll just stick him on the Collision or whatever. They just won't be booked on the same night. But either way, I digress. Here's Dave's take on Andrade being back in AEW. Shock and surprise.
Andrade.
And by the way, just an update, like for those of you who maybe weren't online or didn't see what the dirt sheets have been saying, like, when Andrade was technically released, they just like terminated the contract and cut him, although he did essentially walk out on his own accord. But on the books, on paper, he was released, and that's why this isn't like contract tampering or interference or anything like that.
Andrade made his return.
AEW has enough talent. They don't need. I see everyone like celebrating. Oh my God, this is so great when all this.
Dave is like, I've seen everybody online saying, I don't think anyone was saying that.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I don't think anyone was saying that, Dave. I think everyone was hating on it for the most part and laughing at how silly it is. Like maybe some AEW fans were excited, but there's people you can see in the crowd like explaining to each other who the fuck this is.
Andrade is a very good wrestler. He is, he's coming off of a run that wasn't good in WWE. Then he was fired, over disciplinary reasons. He had lots of problems in AEW over disciplinary reasons. I always think, burn me once, learn a lesson. This was not a lesson learned. And I know that my view is very unpopular in this because all I've seen is, oh, it's so great.
No, see, Dave, just fucking, man, because you are surrounded by sickos in a cult. So the one time you agree with Phil Marks, now I can't even, I mean, I did play you an E-flute. That should be good. But it's like, we can't even bro down Dave. This would be like a Dave Meltzer smart moment of the week show if you just kept it real. And he doesn't like Andrade because he knows that Andrade coming in means like, oh, fuck, Mystico's not going to get booked as much or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Even though I don't know if that's the case. Like, Tony's not above shelving people and we don't know what CMLL has planned, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say this. It's funny how he hates on a certain, like Dave picks out these guys he hates on and he's like, oh, there's tons of disciplinary issues. I think Andrade like smacked someone or was going to smack them. Is that a ton of disciplinary issues, Dave? Or are you just like over exaggerating and shit? And that's where like he gets heat with some of the boys and he gets heat with fucking fans too, who are like, well, dude, don't go like okay, you don't like Andrade, don't go burying him in that regard. But I mean, it is obvious. I agree with you. Like, I agree with Dave in this aspect. Like Tony shouldn't have fucking rehired him, but he's just desperate. And I bet it was easy. I bet they were like, just same deal, whatever. But Tony's just super desperate to pop a rating or do anything. And I don't think it'll help.
Andrade's back and blah, blah, blah. And who cares about his problems? And it's like one of the biggest problems with this company has been the usage of WWE guys, but the guys who were fired did William Regal, not a success, went back as soon as
possible. This is the problem. Why are they not a success? Why is anybody not a success in AEW? It's because the platform they provide.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Right? However, to steal a line from Meltzer, how do you measure success? Because Dave's going, well, he wasn't a success. Okay, why? Because AEW hasn't been successful. Well, no, they've been successful. Okay, well then you and your sycophants are talking about Moxley should be a Hall of Famer. Regal was working with Moxley and shit. So what did he do that wasn't successful if AEW was successful while he was in it, according to you chucklefucks? That's why Dave's just talking shit, and he doesn't like Regal because he loved Regal when Regal came in, but Regal thinks Meltzer's a stooge and then asked to get released, and Tony Khan took it personally and cried and texted Dave about it. So Dave got fucking emotional damage over it, and now he's coping, okay?
Emotional damage!
William Regal wanted to go be with his son. He had to get out of there. Him and Triple H are loyal to each other through and through to the bone. And once Triple H came in charge, which nobody really saw coming, he's like, I need to get the fuck back there because this place is a joke. The part that Dave won't admit is this place is AEW's a fucking joke. And all of these guys jumped the fuck off of this thing. And Tony shouldn't have went balls deep in signing every ex-WWE star. And the problem is that Dave was hyping up, Danielson and Adam Cole, baby, and all the ex-WWE guys. They got Moxley. They got Jericho. They're going to be more popular than WWE. Dave pushed that narrative and that agenda. He hyped up a bunch of these guys for being ex-WWE guys. But then the ones he doesn't like, he singles out and goes, this guy, he's friends with Triple H, so fuck him. That's all Dave's doing, man. It's so disingenuous.
Fired, get William Regal, not a success, went back as soon as he could. Malachi Black.
As soon as he could. He had to ask for his release.
Didn't do jobs, left.
Didn't do jobs. Holy shit. Oh my God, dude. Didn't do jobs. Wouldn't job for anyone. Multi-time trios champion. They didn't do jobs.
Rusev. It's like this guy wouldn't do anything in AEW, and then he goes to WWE and he's putting over Dominic,
Yeah, because Dominic's over, bro. He's the Intercontinental Champion. Millions of people are watching #1 on Netflix. Not Invisible Max numbers. It actually is building to something. He's not just in WWE. It's not just, hey, you can turn everything down either. He's on a short deal. Maybe he's trying to fucking show them, yes, I'm here to work. And on top of that, it's like, yeah, because Dom's one of the most over guys in the entire business right now. He didn't want to go put over Daniel Garcia, who can't get a reaction. So you just keep sticking him in different factions that nobody cares about.
He wouldn't put over guys twice as good as Dominic in AEW.
Twice as good as Dominic. No, there's nobody in AEW as good as Dominic Mysterio is at the all-around game of pro wrestling. All around. Mass appeal. Drawn houses. Oh, are you talking about doing flips and shit? Okay. All right. Yeah, he wouldn't put over Pac, who does flips and shit. You know what I mean? He actually probably would put Pac over. It wouldn't shock me if he has in NXT. You know what I mean? Like, Dave, this is such cope. And you're just burying this guy for no fucking reason.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
EW.
Actually, Swerve was released and became a big star. Huge star.
Huge star. A big star, a huge star, actually. See, Bryan's starting to become Dave. He's actually a huge star.
Are you sure about that?
Swerve is the exception. That's right. That is the one exception.
And what about Tony Storm? Oh, that's another exception. Fucking idiots, man. And they're not huge stars. They just raised their stock. Swerve and Tony Storm raised their stock since going to AEW. But huge star? Come on.
Not super charismatic. And one of the things that's different.
He's not super charismatic. Super charismatic, bro. Andrade, what he has going for him is his charisma. There's a certain je ne sais quoi to him, to where the English doesn't matter so much with him, and especially if you stick him with a good mouthpiece. Holy shit, that's the thing about him. He has a good look. That's why they took the mask off him. Fucking crazy. Dave's nuts, man.
Before, one of the advantages that Andrade had is that, I think that AEW really wanted good Hispanic wrestlers. He's very good. They have access to much better guys now than Andrade.
Oh my God. Fucking Dave. So here is Dave and Bryan speaking about Wrestle Dream and then talking about Showdown and Title Tuesday, which are going head to head on October the 7th, coming up here next week, which I am so excited for. So here's Dave Meltzer glazing Wrestle Dream before it even happens.
Kenny Omega comes back. He was put out by Kyle Fletcher. Okay. So the first thing he should be doing is going after Kyle Fletcher. Okay. That is like the most obvious thing. And this is another thing that they don't do well is they'll shoot an angle for a guy to leave.
Damn, Dave is criticizing AEW. Let's go. People will be like, he does this all the time. No, dude, he just doesn't like Andrade. Okay. So I will, I'll give him a new fuck it. But he just doesn't like Andrade. That's all it is. He just wants to see his new I'm going to explain it to the sickos. Dave's new 5-star merchant is Kyle Fletcher. And Kenny Omega is one of his past ones. He just doesn't like Andrade. We just listened to Andrade get buried by Dave and Rusev for some reason. And so he doesn't want Kenny to fight Andrade, even though Dave is like, well, he's a tremendous wrestler. Okay, then they'll have a tremendous match. I thought this is where the best wrestle. But he wants him to fight Kyle Fletcher because he's impatient, he's a child, and because that's his new 5-star merchant. You know what I mean? He just can't wait to be like 7 stars.
For various reasons, he's got to leave. They'll shoot an angle. And then
he doesn't actually care. He's not actually criticizing Tony Khan. He's only saying this because he's trying. Well, he is by proxy, but he really just hates Andrade.
You've got this ready-made grudge match return, and how many times have we seen it? And then they just never do the match.
Because he doesn't want to beat anybody. If you do Kyle Fletcher and Kenny Omega, you got to beat one of them.
Exactly. See, thank you, Bryan. See, Bryan tries sometimes.
So
he's still trying a little bit. It seeps through.
He doesn't want to beat either of them, and so they are not feuding.
Well, then why did he do the angle?
Because he had to get rid of.
Because he's a fucking shitty booker, dude. Because he's the best guy.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
Kenny Omega, and that's what he chose to do.
Well, then he should have done the angle with someone he could beat, or with someone that he was willing to let Kenny beat. Or what's the point?
Say this is rock bottom and the worst show ever. Do that, Bryan.
The angle. What's the point of the angle when you're not the angle? See, this is the whole stupid thing about all this. The angle is not the money. The money is coming back from the angle. He's doing the angle as the money.
Oh man, Dave. Don't start talking. Dave Meltzer, come on down. Don't start fucking talking about the money. All for the money.
And the angle is to set up the money. It's like nobody, it's like you put that angle on TV. The idea is he comes back. He's going for revenge.
That's idea is
just doing angles for the sake of angles. What good is that? That's
what AEW is. Dave's finally catching on 6 years in, the better part of a decade. And he's finally catching.
That's essentially watering down angles and wasting television time and wasting angles, because your angles should be there to benefit your business, not to just thrown out because we need 15 angles on a show that we forget almost all of them.
Holy shit, man. Dave figured it out. He's figured out what everybody's been saying for the last 5 fucking years. He's finally realizing it through his hatred of Andrade El Idolo.
So and look, I think that AEW is doing great. Their pay-per-views are through the roof.
There's no proof
this
of
next
that.
pay-per-view is taking shape, and it's different than anyone probably thought, but it's probably going to be.
No, it's different than you thought. No one thought about Wrestle Dream. It's different than anyone thought Wrestle Dream would be. What the fuck is Wrestle Dream? What does it even mean? What's the theme? Showdown, NXT TNA Showdown. Oh, it's a showdown. WWE Survivor Series War Games. Oh, it's a War Games, right? Bad Blood. Oh, there's probably going to be like a really heated grudge match where, someone, a fucking cage or a Hell in a Cell or some shit. What Wrestle Dream? Oh, it's like a dream in my head and Tony's mind, the best guy.
Great show. They always are. But
they always are. All Out was their least public interest and the worst pay-per-view of the year, in my opinion.
Kenny Omega should be against Kyle Fletcher if he's coming back.
He just wants to give them 7 stars and then go, their next match I'll give 7.5, then the one after I'll give 8, the first 8-star match. That's all he's trying to fucking do. He's just trying to prop his guys up. So now here is Bryan and Dave Meltzer in our main event of the evening here. Went a little longer than I anticipated for the first one, but that's fine. We had a little, we had Dave and Bryan fucking snipping the cord over here. But, NXT is peaking for next Tuesday's head-to-head, while AEW has a show called Title Tuesday. And we have Mercedes Moné against a wrestler from Florida. Now, here's the problem right here. These two chuckle fucks spent the whole time coping and seething over AEW's still great. Andrade sucks, though, but otherwise it's amazing. Everything's through the roof. Everything's amazing. They're beating Raw in the ratings, right, essentially. Now they're worried about, NXT's got this huge stacked up show. Meanwhile, Bryan, this is what I mean. He doesn't even believe what he's saying when it comes to NXT TNA, because now they're saying NXT is peaking, but I thought it was rock bottom at the last pay-per-view. And I thought or the PLE for NXT. I thought it was rock bottom, Bryan. I thought that this show was so dumb and stupid and nothing makes sense and fucking, I'm mad at it and I got to shut it off. That's the shilling, dude. That's the stooging. And the reason Bryan seems fake in those clips is because he's being fake. He's just trying to gaslight sickos, parrot dumb fuck regurgitators who are just going to regurgitate what the fuck he says and parrot what he says. And instead of actually giving this an objective thought, they let this motherfucker think for them. And instead, they're going to then turn around a minute later after burying it and saying it's the rock bottom and it stinks. He's going to then go and say they're peaking and they're promoting the shit. And meanwhile, AEW just kind of threw together a show. So then what the fuck? Like how you're inconsistent with your complaints and your criticisms of shit.
AEW Title Tuesday. And at this point,
no, they haven't done anything for that.
We have one title match, and it is Mercedes versus an unnamed wrestler from Florida.
Which it's going to be Dakota Kai or Elektra Lopez.
Yeah, they did not do a good job at.
Oh my God, it's Cyborg Dave, dude. That ain't me. That's Skynet right there.
Yeah, they did not do a good job.
I'm glitching out. See, I told you, man. Dave Meltzer isn't even real anymore. He's like a clone. And he's like, remember when Biden was walking weird and they're like, look, dude, he walks like those Elon Musk robots or those robots from China, man. And everybody was fucking, right? It was this conspiracy theory. That's like Dave. He's actually an android. That's why his hair doesn't grow and shit anymore.
Oh, they're going in there head to head. They're going to get beat. I mean, they're going to get beat handily. But it's like when WWE, when WWE on July the 12th, it was like you're going head to head, and you put on.
Okay, so what? I don't get what he's doing here. So he's just saying now it's like when WWE, they're gonna get beat. AEW is gonna get beat. It's like when WWE got beat that one time head to head with a AEW pay-per-view. What the fuck?
An average 2-week show. It's the same thing. You're going head to head. You got to put up a fight. And it's like, if you watch the NXT show on Tuesday and the AEW show on Wednesday, which show better promoted next Tuesday. I mean, it's not even a fight. It's like
every fucking because it's not a fight, Dave. You have to accept, like, Dave's just coming around though to all of it. It's like not even a fight. Yes, thank you. Now with the ratings, the max numbers, say that about Tony's booking and all of that shit. For years now, it's been not even a fight, and now we'll be lucky if they're on TV in 2027, at least in the way we view it now. And it's because you, two chuckle fucks, you shilled and said it was a fight and said it was comparable to Raw's ratings and said the best guys, Tony Khan, the greatest booker of all time.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Who else but Tony Khan?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's because you did all of that shit that they're going to get beat, and all these mentally ill weirdos on Reddit and the YouTube comments and fucking underneath in your observer message board and the cage match ratings are going to say otherwise.
It's just what it was. WWE, the NXT show, so much better promoted next Tuesday.
All of everything WWE does is better promoted. And even if AEW promoted the shit and spent every waking, dying minute promoting this show, it wouldn't matter. And this is the criticism for every AEW pay-per-view. They don't promote them correctly. They don't spend the TV time correctly.
I mean, it looks like a more exciting lineup. They had all kinds of direct interview. Everything was building towards Tuesday. They're peaking for this thing. And AEW has a show called Title Tuesday, and we have Mercedes Moné against a wrestler from Florida, what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means. It means nothing to me.
And Dave's going to boo-boo on that because it's going to be an ex-WWE superstar, if I had to guess, because that's all really Tony Khan's got going for him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. Let me check in here. Joe Bob became a new member. Amazing. Round of applause. You get access to member shows, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe. I appreciate you all for being here. PWT live show every Wednesday and Saturday. This show goes down every Thursday. I don't think it'll go this long again, but we had a whole little internet StreamYard mishap there. And I appreciate you all. I hope you enjoyed it, man. I had so much goddamn fun, and I look forward to doing this every single week. And yeah, until next time, enjoy yourself. Grab yourself a flute. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been your host, Phil Marks. I will see you on Saturday for Sicko Saturday.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a US
Hold
show,
on a second.
as they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off? We know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, he's not a loser.